Good afternoon, everybody. I'm delighted to have you here at another one of our webinars. I can't believe actually that the last webinar I did was in September. It feels as though it was yesterday. We did a webinar on Nomad in September, and it's now already beginning of March almost. So we are planning this year to offer a few of these webinars throughout the year. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the one that we have coming up next in March. But we've just wanted to rethink things and how we are selling our portfolio. And I'm delighted again that all of you are joining us. And it's also really great to see such a good audience of people that really know their African safari industry and know what products they're selling as well. So many of you I know from for many, many years, and you've been around the block a little bit. So on that basis, I think it'll be a nice idea to kind of think about things slightly differently today in terms of how we're going to be promoting and selling the destinations that we are focusing on. I just want to give you a little bit of housekeeping from our side. We're not going to do open questions in the webinar. Please post all questions into the chat group. And then Natasha is sitting with me as well. She's right next to me, and she will be managing all the questions on that side. So just post anything there and we'll answer it accordingly. Or you can send us any questions that you have afterwards, and we'll be able to answer you at any stage later on as well. I'm also not going to go into special offers or anything along those lines because you can pick that up on the website. And I pick it up on our crib sheet, but we will be contacting each of you individually via email to give you an update of what special offers and tactical offers we have in place for Beagle, Wolwedans, and Tanda Tula. So I'm just going to get quick. I want to get started now. Are we going to have? Yeah, perfect. Natasha says I can go. All right. So now we're going to start officially. So welcome everybody. Delighted to have you here on our first webinar of 2026. And today we're going to be focusing on Beagle, Wolwedans, and Tanda Tula. So what I wanted to think about today was not just to do a product update. I've been to visit all three of these amazing destinations in the last few weeks. But I think what I really want to do is kind of think about how we are selling, not just Beagle, Tanda Tula, and Wolwedans, but how we sell and think about Africa as a whole. And, it kind of makes me think that when was the last time you went to a place that truly changed you and that didn't entertain you and didn't impress you, but that when something shifts inside you and slowed you down and totally reconnected you? Over the past few weeks, I've been to visit three of our portfolio members, Beagle, Wolwedans, and Tanda Tula. And what struck me most was not just the thread count or the wine lists and the wildlife sightings, but truly how each of them made me feel. And I think the feelings are critically important in how we sell these destinations going forward. Some safaris out there entertain you, quite frankly, others bore me to death as well, but other things stay with you. And I think what I'm concentrating on today are these places are the ones that really stay and connect with us in a deep way. I'm also delighted to share my personal insights, and I would like to challenge all of us on how we sell safaris going forward. So, first question I'm going to launch into you is I'm quite curious as to, because we're all an experienced audience over here, the first questions we have is when a client inquires about a safari, what do they ask about first? So I need you guys to be engaging, okay? This is not just me talking today. This is about you giving me a little bit of feedback on things as well. So don't be shy. You can ask what you can launch into anything you want to. But the things are big five sightings, or they're wanting accommodation and comfort, or they're wanting location and country. Some of them are wanting big brand names. Some of them are quite price orientated. Others want something special. And then there's also one at the bottom over there, if you can read it open a little bit more, anybody wanting emotional connection and perspective. So just give us a little bit of an idea of what your clients are generally looking for when it comes to these things. And, we really value your input because we don't sell directly to the customers. That's your job out there. And I think it's really important to understand what the psyche is of the traveler that you are dealing with. So I'm going to give you a little bit more time to answer this and see where we get to on that side. Still got lots of answers coming in. And I am going to, this is actually very interesting, guys. I'm going to end the poll in about a few seconds. Still waiting. More people are answering. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now. So ending the poll and sharing our results. So as you can see from the results side, I mean, I open this over here. The first thing that people are looking for is location and country. The next thing that they're going to be looking for is big five sightings. Thereafter, it is we just want something special. So that's completely random, but actually divine. So that gives you loads of license to play with things. The next one is accommodation and comfort. And then we finally get to price. Emotional connection and perspective is second from the bottom, but interestingly, brand names. Nobody wants a brand name, it seems. Okay, which I did not expect. But it is really good to see that very few people are asking for emotional, for reconnection and perspective. Most people seem to be looking for a country or something specific along those lines. Okay, so just moving on from that, I wanted to share my recent experiences, which was Beagle Expeditions, where I did the most extraordinary reset. I then went to Wolwedans, where I was left in awe with this fantastic landscape. And finally, just last week, I was at Tanda Tula, which was all about this immensely intimate experience, both with nature and with the team and the camp around me as well. Just to give you a perspective again on where these destinations are, so you can all remember, we've got Beagle Expeditions, which we're going to start with, which is up in the Okavango Delta. We've got Wolwedans, which is in the Namibia in Namibia, just south of Sossusvlei. And we've got Tanda Tula, which all of you know, of course, is in the Timbavati, just to the western side of the Kruger National Park. The next question I want to ask you is going to be based on how confident do you feel selling a camp that where we're taking away Wi-Fi, we've got no aircon, we've got no hair dryers. How confident you sell? Completely confident in selling a camp with no Wi-Fi, aircon, and hair dryers. Depends on the client, slightly nervous or very nervous in all of those things. And guys, you are an experienced crew, so I'm expecting the right answers coming out of this, okay? Giving you a few minutes on that side. Okay, there we go. End poll. I'm ending the poll over here and sharing the results. This is really good, guys. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with you. Okay, so 34% of the audience today are completely confident selling a camp with no Wi-Fi, aircon, or hair dryers. And most of you have said it depends on the client, which I totally and utterly agree with. And there are only 12% of you, which is a very small number, who are a little bit nervous on that side. So well done to that. I really appreciate that feedback. And I think what I want to do now is just move straight into one of our more remote and authentic and wilder experiences, which is Beagle Expeditions. So I was at Beagle just before Christmas. I was very lucky. I took my goddaughter there. It was her for her birthday present. And what I absolutely love about the experience, and I have to admit that I went there at the end of the year. It had been a really long year, so I was exhausted, just emotionally tired. It's just been a long, tedious year, and it's just before Christmas and all of those sorts of things. So you come into this experience of this vast, untouched wilderness. You've got 30,000 hectares of the Delta for just 10 guests. When I was there were only 4 guests in camp at the time. The experience is the ultimate luxury. What Simon Byron has created is absolutely extraordinary. And his dedication to going simple is not because the camp needs to be like that or that's because he can't afford to have plumbing or anything like that. It really is the art of a simple safari. So you have bucket showers and then you've got some fine wine. You've got no Wi-Fi, and they deliberately don't want anybody to be having any access via Starlink or anything along those lines. You've got your eco loos because that's a way of not impacting the environment around you. But this is a natural and light experience. You're completely wild and free when you are here. From doing helicopter safaris with the doors off to wonderful game drives to guided walking to the Makoro, all these experiences are part of your journey as you stay with the 4 nights on a Beagle expedition. And it's true moments of connection, for families and friends, or just that whole sense of being in a place that has only belongs to you and you're completely immersed into it. As I said earlier, it had been a long year, but when I got here, I was a bit jittery to start off with because I didn't have access to my Wi-Fi, I didn't have access to my WhatsApps. And you realize how how addicted we are to being connected. And it took a little while to actually just start shedding it. And I didn't have a book with me either because I haven't read a book in ages because I'm so addicted to my bloody phone. But just to leave things alone and not your phone just becomes a camera and it isn't that device that you're constantly connecting with. It was the most extraordinary experience. So Beagle operates with two seasonal camps and you have to stay a minimum of the 4 nights. You do 2 nights in one camp and you do 2 nights in the other camp. And the journey between the two is the whole experience. And the reason for the 4 night stay is this sense of letting go and becoming comfortable in your experience. It does take a little while for us complete tech junkies to start letting go into all of this. On the exclusive use basis, they take kids of all ages, and I cannot recommend this high enough for families with small kids, especially. Simon and his wife Marlene have raised their own children in the bush and they're very geared at having small kids. And then on the sharing camp basis, it's kids of only 12 years and older. I've done Beagle a few times. I've done it mostly on an exclusive use basis. And on the time that I went now, we did it on a shared basis, which I was quite happy to understand the difference between the two. I would highly recommend, if at all possible, that you do Beagle on an exclusive basis. There's that journey and that level of emotional disconnection that you go through over the 4 days that it is best done when you're with the family and the friends that you're really, you really love the most. So we are for the exclusive use, you only require a minimum of 4 guests, and then the whole camp becomes yours. And I do highly recommend it from that perspective. We have even had guests here, two people who wanted to go exclusive and they just paid for the other two on that side. So your camp rate over here is also well priced. You're coming in $1,385 per person per night. And then, of course, as I mentioned, it is a 4 night stay. There are two identical seasonal camps. So in the past, we had one camp that moved between the two locations. Now there are two locations with two camps, and they've got 4 tents and one family tent in each camp as well. So you've got lots of space to spread out, but they don't need to move the tents in between the safari experience. So but you stay 2 nights one, and then your bedding and your luggage and everything moves to the next camp. Your whole camp experience with your same team moves to the new camp, but the team behind the scenes do not need to do all the admin and labor of setting up the camp in between. With that has come a little bit more levels of luxury. So they've added onto the main mess tent area. They've got a lovely big dining area. They've got a nice lounge area. Simon's also put in there's chillers. He's got a sort of a massive big chest freezer, which is powered by solar power, and then that turns into an ice bath. So when you want to have a really cool ice bath, that's available as well. But the simplicity of the camp is really what makes it. And even now that there are seasonal camps, the idea is not to go for concrete, is not to have anything fixed and permanent around you. Then they've got the individual tents, which are very comfortably done. Lovely, big, spacious Meru style tents, beautiful bedding, wonderful beds, lots of space to explode your bag and all those sort of things. And then lovely, big, comfortable ensuite bathrooms. When it comes to the ensuite bathrooms, they've got a bucket shower. And I have to say, I love a bucket shower. It is the ultimate luxury. And you have to kind of be a certain person to want to have your hair smell like, wood smoke, but it just makes you feel as though you're really back in the wild again. And that level of care and attention of somebody coming, to fill up your water bucket and so you can brush your teeth, and and hoisting the bucket shower up into the tree above you. It's just the most amazing experience. The big thing that everybody freaks out about, and let's just deal with it and talk about it, is the eco loo. There is not a flushing loo because they are not impacting the water table in the delta at all. The eco loos are what most people are going to think, oh my God, it's going to stink or whatever else. Guys, it's absolutely fine. The whole camp operates on eco loos. There's not an issue here whatsoever. You do have this little box, as you can see on this side over here. You've got a little loo seat and everything. And next to your loo, you do have a little hatch, and inside the hatch you've got lots of wild sage that has been dried out, and bark and all those sorts of things. You go to the loo, you cover everything up with wild sage and bark, and it's no issues coming out of there at all. No smells, nothing along those lines. And the Eco Loo works brilliantly. It gets cleaned out morning and evening, so there's no issue from that side as well. And then what they use is all this waste goes into its own waste containers. Nothing is left in the delta. Nothing is put into a pit hole or anything like that. It goes into these massive big containers, sewage containers, and they get cleaned out maybe once in the season. So if you think about them operating April through to the beginning of January, they clean those things up because everything just composts right down. Once it goes from the camp, it gets taken back to the mound area and it actually gets used into a composting thing because it's predominantly made up of natural material from the delta. But you are not making any impact on the water table at all in this area. And it works like a charm. It's not an issue. This is the family tent. It's got two rooms on either side, connected by in the back by the bathrooms, but nice and close for if you've got kiddies with you. Just an idea of the dining style over here. We're doing the amazing heli safari. So the only way in and out of Beagle Expeditions into Queenie and Mahwehwe camps is via helicopter. There's no fixed wings here because there is no airstrip in the area. So it's only heli flying in. Most of the time, you can arrange for the helicopter pilots to stay overnight. There's no extra charge for that from the Beagle side. The helicopter stays overnight. And then the next morning, early morning, just before the sun is rising, they take the doors off and you do the most amazing aerial safari over the Abu concession. Then, of course, they're doing day and night game drives. You're doing your Mokoro safaris. But really, what Beagle is all about is this walking and this immersion style of the experience. The big sort of Beagle USP is the day that you walk between the two camps. You're going from either Mahwehwe or Queenie to one way or the other. And it is about an 18-kilometer walk. It sounds a bit far. It's not really that far. And you are encouraged to carry your own backpack. And while you're carrying your backpack, when I was there in December, it was hot. I mean, it must have been in the mid 30s as we were walking that day. We each had to carry 4 liters of water, which is quite heavy to be carrying on your back as well. You carry a sleeping mat with you, and you start off on this amazing expedition. In the high water months, you can do a little bit of Mokoroing as well. So you Mokoro a lot of it, so it's a little bit shorter. But in the months where there's no high water, you're walking for most of it. You'll walk a long time. In the morning, you'll stop somewhere amazing and do your morning coffee stop. And then you keep walking a little bit further, and then you'll rest under a big tree. And you're sometimes doing a siesta now in the heat of the day. You're resting from about 11:30 until 2:30, almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's a lovely, lovely, long sleeping siesta rest under the trees. You're carrying your own lunch, so you have a little lunch pack. You take your bedroll out that you're carrying as well. You lie your bedroll down and you sleep over there. But there's a sense of, and actually, I don't know how many of you have children, but we don't actually feel grit anymore. We don't put ourselves out in terms of any discomfort in our lives. I don't know how many children even mow the lawn nowadays or do chores or anything like that, but everything has become so easy. Our lives in every aspect have become so easy. And I think the only way that you can truly encounter something is when you go through a little bit of difficulty. And a day of walking, carrying your water, carrying that backpack is absolutely extraordinary. And that's what makes it so unique and different. And that sense of accomplishment at the end of the safari is what makes this such an exceptional destination. Guests who finish this day of walking feel that they have some, it's almost like summiting an enormous emotional goal, but it is something that they really truly connect inside them. When I was with my goddaughter now, she absolutely loved it. We were there, as I said, in December. Big rain clouds were building, the wind was blowing, and I'm totally out of my comfort zone. I'm very comfortable reading a spreadsheet and understanding numbers, but suddenly you get thrown into the wild and you got this noise of animals and the wind, and you come around a corner and there's a big bull elephant. That taking you out of your comfort zone and that trust that you have in this extraordinary guide that you are with is this amazing journey that the Beagle Expedition takes you on. And this letting go and reconnecting is absolutely extraordinary. The wildlife around us was amazing. We had brilliant wild dog sightings while we were there. Obviously, loads of elephants, fantastic bird life, all of those sort of things as well. But it is such an amazing and different experience that I think gives you a totally unique way of experiencing a safari nowadays. I think so many of our safaris have become so homogenized and kind of like a 50 shades of beige that we don't feel anymore. We've got aircon, you've got all these things, but you need to feel again. And I think Beagle provides exactly that. But at the same time, Beagle combines brilliantly with a safari like Wolwedans, which we're going to be discussing in a moment, or you can combine it with the likes of a Tanda Tula as well to do the sort of yin and yang or something different. We get lots of guests doing Beagle with Mombo or with Jiao or Kijira. So there's that natural, nice connection between these experiences. Obviously, doing Okavango Sundowners, Simon and Marlene also own the Okavango Gin Company. So they're doing well on that side. So you get lots of great sundowner experiences happening here. And I think that kind of just keeps it in mind. But I want you to feel this. I think if you take away that Beagle has bucket showers and eco loos, you might not have the confidence to sell it. But if you really understand that Beagle deeply restores people and connects them to the environment in the most extraordinary way, you will be able to sell those with absolute confidence and intentionally to all your clients going forward. Moving on from Beagle, I would like to ask you the next question over here. So, what we want to know is what emotional outcome do you think clients value the most after they've been on safari? So, then we're going to ask them, do they want the thrill of the safari? Do they want a new perspective? Do they want reconnection? Do they want status and bragging rights? Or do they just want to have a really good rest? Okay, giving you a chance to get this in. Gosh, it's quite interesting. Um, hmm. Okay, well done. That's quite interesting. I'm going to stop you guys now, end the poll, and sharing results. So you're playing right into my whole spiel over here about the reset and how we should start selling safaris. Most people are looking for reconnection. 69% of you have said most people are looking for reconnection. Thereafter, the next highest number is they're looking for a thrill. Then we move on to perspective, and then we get into bragging rights, and then finally rest. So there's no rest for the wicked happening over here. And I think when you come to any of our experiences, reconnection is critically important. You know, when I speak to so many people, we actually speak about the sort of the brokenness of society and how travel is becoming some way of emotionally healing. And that takes us perfectly into discussing Volvodance. So on the Namibian side, we're going to do loads of reconnection over here, as you well know. So what I love about this is a vast and ancient landscape. I don't know how many of you have been to Wolwedans, but it's located in the Nama Runt, which is just over 200,000 hectares, and it is truly one of the most photographically stunning destinations on the continent. I've said that all along, and I still maintain that. And I've been to over 200 camps and lodges, and I think that this location is beyond beautiful. There's also the Wolwedans Ways, committed to the pursuit of happiness, business in balance, and the five C's of their sustainability. Stefan added on, that's part of the long run, which is conservation, community, commerce, and culture. And Stefan added his fifth C, which is consciousness. And then there is the experiences. It's about this going slow to disconnect and reconnect with yourself, with nature, and with humankind, and a totally transformative desert immersion. And then we do, it's iconically Namibian. I honestly feel, guys, that you can sell Volvodance as a standalone Namibian destination. And I'm not discounting everything else that is in Namibia, but if you think about doing this, you could do Cape Town, fly directly up to Windhoek. From Windhoek, you can fly directly into Volvodans, do a 4-night stay of just vast open landscapes and something totally different, and then connect from there up into the Okavango Delta. Nice thing as well is that remember connecting back to Windhoek, you can do an early you'll do a night stay in Windhoek. The next morning you either connect to Maun, connect to Vic Falls, or you can connect to Joburg, and from Joburg you can connect into the Kruger Park and you can connect into Mozambique. So the access around Volvodance is actually relatively good when you think about it from a wider spread of destinations to combine it with. What I love about the variation is that being iconically Namibian, you can just do a little desert dunk in here, come in and experience something totally different to what you would find on the rest of the African continent. It is the first wilderness quiet park, which has been since 2024, and they're also an international dark sky reserve. The stars over here are absolutely magnificent. One thing, just remember, as we always show the dark sky reserve, I happened to be there a few weeks ago at full moon. So I didn't see one star around at all. But what I did see was just a bright sort of spotlight at night because the whole sky and my room and everything was just this bright, beautiful light. And talk about moon shadows, you just have this still desert landscape and these beautiful, deep, long moon shadows around you. So Wolwedans, remember, has got the five different camps. We've got Dune Camp and Desert Lodge. We've then got Mountain View Suite, we've got Plains Camp, and we've got Boulders Camp. They're the five different entities here. They just recently created some new vehicles, loads of fun. They put you on top over here, and please, you have to wear a seatbelt, okay? Because it's a bit bumpy up there, and you can hit a bump and you can go off. Always strap yourself in. It's completely safe if you're strapped in, and it's the most amazing experience to be sitting on top of those vehicles. Desert picnics, the full day game drives, the interpretive bushman walks. These are all the most amazing experiences. You also getting the Heart and Home Village tour, which you walk through the desert in the morning and you're in the middle of absolutely nowhere and you come down to sort of the back house essentially of Wolwedans, which they call the village. And there you go and see where they get their water from, how they manage their waste, where they get their power from, but also this fantastic vegetable garden in the middle of nowhere that's all been done out of organic matter and producing these fresh produce that gets used in all the camps. And you have a beautiful surprise lunch in the middle of the veggie garden. What I love the most is the moments of silence when you get off those vehicles. The e-biking is my ultimate favorite experience to do over here. One, it's not difficult because thank God that it is a bike with a bit of E behind it because there's no ways you can ride in the sand without a bit of motor power in it. You've got nice big fat wheels that cope with the sand beautifully. And I was there, well, I was there about 4 weeks ago, I think it was, the beginning of February. And you think it's going to be boiling hot at the beginning of Feb, but we had the most amazing weather. It was a cloudy day. It had rained a little bit the night before. So we had this beautiful cloud cover. It wasn't too hot. And then hitting those dunes and riding was just brilliant. Get a bit of exercise going, your legs are moving, which is fantastic, but it is the most wonderful experience. And this is actually, I wouldn't have thought so because you think it's going to be stinking hot, but you could actually, and I could have on that day done a full day riding safari and, gone out there on the e-bikes, a vehicle meets you halfway, you do a picnic lunch out in the middle of nowhere as well. For those who love horse riding, and I used to horse ride until I fell off too many occasions, and now I just not horses and me, I don't know, we just like looking at each other. But horse riding is absolutely phenomenal. We've got a great horse riding team, and they've got 10 horses as well. And it is the most phenomenal destination to do some horse riding as well. The cantering across these big open sand dunes and landscapes is quite extraordinary. They do either morning rides or afternoon rides. The same with the e-biking. You're obviously doing it in the cool of the day, but when we do have cooler days, like in our wintertime, June and July, as well as now when it's cloudy and overcast and there's been a bit of rain, you can do full day experiences. But the sort of pinnacle experience over here is to go and do an afternoon ride and then meet up on the what we call the Chateau Plains, looking down into the Chateau Plains, and you have this stunning sundowner into the middle of nowhere. And then the solitude experience. This whole thing we spoke about, you kind of even said it now in terms of what people are looking for, reconnection. And this is a mini experience of what Beagle offers you in 4 days, Wolwedans offers you in an afternoon sundowner. The whole experience here is about disconnecting and letting go as well, and about solitude and immersion. But this evening sundowner experience is not everybody's bag of tricks because most people have an anxiety attack by leaving their phone in a bowl, getting a gin and tonic, and then walking into the sand dunes and sitting by themselves. I think there's a fear of little critters and scorpions and snakes and all those sorts of things. And I mean, you'll be lucky if you see one, but you're not going to be seeing one of those. But you just sit in silence And you are now in, Africa's, one of the Africa's quiet parks. The decibels over here, you cannot hear any man-made sound around you. Everything just clicks in natural harmony. It is beautifully, beautifully done. And just to watch, you sort of go 20 minutes before the sunset, so it's not too hot, and you spend the last 20 minutes watching the sunset. And then the idea, not that everybody can do this, is that you wait for the first star to appear. And it's extraordinary the gap between the sun going down and your first star appearing, which is usually Jupiter, but it's not, it's more of a planet than a star. But that is what makes this experience so extraordinary, is having patience to just be still and having patience to sit with your own thoughts and sit with your own emotions and not get onto your phone, not jabber to somebody else. And it takes a little while again, like the Beagle experience, where I mentioned you need the 4 days to totally let go. You need the first 30 minutes to calm yourself down. And then you start truly feeling it. And it is the most immersive and amazing experience. But you have to surrender. To reconnect in any form of life, you have to surrender to letting go. And this is the perfect opportunity that provides that. For those who want to surrender even more, which I would happily do as well, is you can do a desert sleep out. We do obviously, this one is obviously set up for the photo shoot as a romantic version. So it's a double bed in the middle of nowhere. But actually, this works brilliantly for families. We can do the desert sleep out for a small group of up to 8 people. And what we would recommend over here is that you arrive that 20 minutes or 30 minutes, even a little bit more before sundowner, before the sun goes down, and you do your sundowner here. You have that moment of silence, all of those sorts of things around you. But you want this picture. You want to be here while the sun is going down. And then you have an early picnic style supper in the middle of the bush. You got a little fire going, your lanterns, your coffee, your drinks, a full big cooler box full of drinks to have as well. And you're sitting comfortably out here. You do need to kind of dust your feet off. So one of the sort of more immersive experiences, possibly sleeping with some sand in your bed. And then there's a little bucket in the sand. So for going to the loo, nothing is left in the desert. It is all taken away, but there is a little loo area, and it's got a proper loo seat that you sit on, and you can go to the loo if you need to go over here. You don't, you have the whole night out. There is a guide close by, because while you think you're in the middle of nowhere, which you are, there are lots of desert sounds. We have vulva dance, means, dancing wolves, and the dancing wolves are the hyenas. We have black-backed jackals and things like that. There's aardwolf. So there's quite a lot of activity taking place out here in the desert, but nothing is dangerous. You can stay out here completely comfortably, but the guide is close by, so you can go back into camp at any time. If this, the only thing that could really set this back is a little bit of wind, but again, the camp is really close, and I think it's the most extraordinary experience to do. We just had an influencer from Nat Geo, from National Geographic, doing this, who absolutely raved about it. But if you're wanting to do something truly spectacular, I highly recommend that you book the Desert Star Sleep Out for your guests at Wolwedans. We also, of course, do the hot air ballooning that can be done from Kwesigat or from Geluk. But the hot air ballooning is a signature experience of the Namabrand. And we don't, and I have to remind you, we don't do Sossusvlei. When I was now with Wolwedans a few weeks ago, had a big argument again with Stefan, saying, I really think we should do Sossusvlei. Evidently, 91% of the Kwesi Dunes guests, and Kwesi Dunes is 45, maybe an hour away from Wolwedans, 90% of the Kwesi Dunes guests do Sossusvlei. Stefan is adamant that you can do Sossusvlei because it's something different. It's busy, it's crowded, it's got all of those things, and people who want to do it. But you come to Wolwedans for Wolwedans, and you come for this desert immersion, you come for this disconnection, you come for this reconnection to this environment that you're in. And if you have to stay at Wolwedans and wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to rush down, get into a vehicle, drive all the way to Sossusvlei, get into the gate in time, drive all the way deep in towards Dead Flay and to do Big Daddy, it's just such a waste of a day at Wolwedans. So we rather say to do Sossusvlei, stay in one of the camps really close to Sossusvlei. The wilderness camps are absolutely fantastic. So go and stay at Wilderness, and or any of the camps in that area. Pay the lower rate and that sort of thing over there, and then you come into and then do Wolwedans afterwards. And we're very excited as well at Wolwedans to be getting a new interior update and look. Dune Camp and a Desert Lodge will be reopening now on the 20th of April. We sent out an update recently, but we've got this stunning new interiors look coming into all the rooms at and the main areas of Dune Camp and a Desert Lodge, and that will be installed at the beginning of June. Dune Camp is sort of our signature little one that everybody absolutely loves. This has got the six individual rooms and one family room. The rates here, guys, are 14,900. That's starting now for peak season, which gives you a rate at the current exchange rate of about 935 US dollars. I think it's extremely well priced for what you're getting. All your activities are included, all your meals, all of those sort of things included. And you've got the stunning new main area, which is going to be undergoing this refurb in the next few weeks, and a lovely bar area. Food is wonderful. The food, the fresh food all comes out of the gardens that I explained earlier. And thank God, Stefan has finally agreed as well to put wooden walkways from the rooms, connecting the rooms to the main area. Beforehand, you had to walk through the sand, which is fine if you're sort of 25 years old or something like that. But I always thought my mother, who's in her 70s, was really going to struggle walking, 800 meters through the sand. And quite frankly, if I've had a shower and I've just cleaned my feet, I don't feel like walking in the sand either. So we've got walkways now between all the rooms, and this has made a big difference. And there are walkways now at both Dune Camp and at Desert Lodge. So it's nice, easy access while you're in camp around that. I know that sounds like a boring update, but it really is quite an important one. At Dune Camp as well, we've just put on the pool beds, the pool lounges turn into an outdoor bed. So if you don't want to go and sleep out in the desert, you can come and sleep at the star beds right on your room side as well. And then we've got the family suite, which has got two individual rooms. Both of these rooms have their own private chillers. Remember, all the rooms over here have their own chillers. But you've got your lovely two bedrooms over here, and then there's a central lounge area on this side. We are finally putting in a kitchen. So the kitchen will be going in sort of in about May, June this year. And once we have the kitchen, you can use this as a completely exclusive unit. At the moment, guests do go and eat back at the main Dune Camp dining area, which is actually just on the other, oopsie daisy, it's just on the other side of this picture over here. But going forward, you will be able to do this on a completely exclusive basis. So it becomes like a little mini villa. Desert Lodge is reopening now on the 20th of April. It's been given a really nice refresh. The main area has been substantially changed around. We've also now got six tented rooms. Beforehand, we had seven. We've taken one away out of inventory just for the next year, I think. The plan is to upgrade that one room into a two-bedroom family suite as well. And then we've got three tented family rooms. This does work very well for families. Desert Lodge is definitely more family orientated because of the family rooms than Dune Camp is, but the same price. The best thing we've done now is getting the rates the same between the two. So fantastic location over here, beautiful views and interiors. I can't show you much on the interior side. As I mentioned, they're going to be upgraded quite soon. But again, the wooden walkways have come in. All the rooms have got their own private chillers as well. They've got lovely big outside bathrooms. And these beautiful sort of open things. There's no glass at all anywhere at Wolwedans. It's only canvas and wood. So every single window is just a canvas gauze that opens up. So you've got this natural breeze that flows through. There's no aircon and there are no hair dryers here either. But the way the rooms have been designed, and you think it's going to be super duper hot, actually the heat isn't the problem. If you had aircon in your room, you still have to go outdoors and go horse ride and do the biking activities where there's no aircon unless you walked around in a bubble. So that's not going to work at all. So the fact that your room is designed for breeze and for that to create a comfort flow works really nicely. And it is interesting because of being the location in the desert. Because of the heat during the day, there's a natural sort of suction up of the hot air, which pulls in cool air from the ocean. And remember, the ocean, which is a cold ocean, is only about 80 kilometers away. So in the evening, you get this natural cool breeze coming in. And that cool mist and breeze that comes in from the ocean is actually what brings a lot of moisture into the desert as well. I'm going to warn you guys, the heat is not as much of a problem as the cold is in winter. So this place, as hot as it gets, you think it gets just as cold on the other side of things. So cold is more of a thing, and we really are designing things to make sure that the rooms are completely comfy during the winter months, which is predominantly it's only about 3 weeks that it is super duper cold, which is about mid-July into early August. Mountain View Suite is absolutely stunning. It's exclusive for two guests only. So this is your own private chef, your own guide, your own vehicle. And I think considering you're getting all of that privacy, you're getting a starting rate of $1,120, which I think is a very, very good rate. Beautiful big suite, as you can see here. You got a bedroom, an outdoor star bed, your own dining room, your own kitchen, lovely big lounge, nice big swimming pool area as well. And it's got the most spectacular views from here as well. And then Plains Camp, please do not forget about Plains Camp. I'm going to be honest with you, our occupancies are low, but you really can sell this a lot more. It's got 4 bedrooms and is the most fantastic desert villa. It is brilliant for a small group of friends. You could go you can do 4 couples in here very comfortably because the rooms are all pretty much the same. And then, or you can use it for a family or an extended family. That works really nicely. Beautiful, comfortable, spacious. All the rooms have their own private chiller, and then there's a main swimming pool. So you've got 5 swimming pools when it gets to Plains Camp. And then finally, right down in the southern part of the Namibia is a very, very special place. Boulders is secluded and quiet and right down in a remote corner of the Namibia. And what we've done here, because of its remoteness, we are unable to offer it on an FIT basis, on a per room basis all year round. So we just offer it on a per room basis or for FITs from April through to mid-November. Otherwise, it's sold on an exclusive use basis only. But a stunning, stunning camp. Just to give you an idea of the location and the setting for this as well. So finally, I think they're just taking, just in terms of thinking about what Wolwedans offers, it really is the space and light of Namibia. It's the design that disappears into a landscape. It's an emotional impact of absolute vast open landscapes around you. And I think it's a place that you feel extremely insignificant and small amongst so much natural beauty and natural wonder around. And I think that that's a definite destination that you can sell with confidence, and it combines very nicely with Beagle. So my final, well, not, no, we've got one more, I've got 2 more questions. So the one we're going to ask you now is when you are choosing a safari, when you're closing a safari booking, because I know that all of us are, we are all in a competitive business environment and you need to close sales and convert bookings. So it's interesting to know what tactics you are using. So whether it be the wildlife density of a place, the exclusivity of a place, the design and luxury, or your personal conviction about the destination. That really is quite an important aspect to understand. I'm getting the answer I expect, so I'm very proud of all of you. Well done, well done. And I presume you can guess what the answer that I expected to get would be. Okay, I'm giving you another few seconds. Okay, we're changing. That's number 2, 3. All right. You all finished? Okay, we've got a in poll. So the number one reason you are sharing you're selling a destination is your personal conviction. And guys, that is the most incredible part of what we do. Because the most compelling sales tool that you have is not the spec sheet and the fact sheets that we give you. It's your belief that you're trusting in the right place and you want your clients to go and experience that. That's that feeling of something. And on the sense of feeling, I really want to remind you that we've got our Mega Fam this year. And for you, anybody that has not signed up, the reason we do Mega Fam is so that you can come and feel and explore these destinations. And of course, all our members are included in the Mega Fam side of things. So your personal conviction about the destination is number one. Thereafter, it's the wildlife density. Not too long after that is exclusivity, which is critically important as well, because you don't want to be going to overcrowded destinations. And finally, not very many of you mentioned design and luxury. So thank you very much for that. So I want to now move into Tanda Tula, which is our final property that we're having today. And now it might seem strange that I've taken Beagle, which is so wild and no Wi-Fi and all this sort of thing, and then we go to a Wolwedans, which is again is no aircon, disconnects and that sort of thing, and then I come to Tanda Tula. And Tanda Tula has done exceptionally well recently because of its redesign and because of the way it's kind of changed. It's changed from being a little tented camp into what it is now. But what really, really sets Tanda Tula apart is the intimacy of the experience. And I know many people talk about this and sort of like, what they talk about camp staff and they talk about these sort of things, but there's truly something that resonates in the whole Thunder experience, and it comes from the fact that you've got this generations of loyalty there. It's family owned. Don and Nina are extremely involved in everything that they do. Their ethos embodies every aspect of the Tanda Tula experience. But also in terms of the other thing that we just, from the little questionnaire we asked you now, is the exclusivity of a destination. Just in terms of giving you a Mara perspective on this, the Timbavati, the three reserves within the Timbavati, Kleseri, and Thorny Bush are over 150,000 hectares, and that is about the same size as the Masai Mara. You're looking at a really big ecosystem over here that has got hardly any bed capacity in it. It's very tightly controlled, and the chances of big new developments taking place are relatively low from that side. They also have a really strong community contribution, and that sense of community connection and contribution is what makes Tanda Tula very special, because that embodies the whole aspect of what Tanda Tula is. It's not about being a profit-driven safari camp in in a wild space. It is about truly connecting to the family, to the people, to the communities around, and that comes not just in terms of the community contributions that they are making, but just in their food ethos as well. The food is sourced from within, there's about a 200-kilometer radius from Tanda Tula that they're getting all their fresh produce from as well. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, it's this generations. It's a multi-generational team of staff and guides and owners who create this experience. It is layered in love, is the only way to describe what Tanda Tula is. And then finally, the camp has regenerated and come into a new embodiment, but it's still this connection through canvas. It's got a new style, but the safari brand of Tanda Tula is fully committed to connecting guests to their natural environment. The wildlife viewing is absolutely spectacular. I was there, as I said to you, I got back last week. And what I was truly astounded by was, considering that we've just come out of the floods now, and all the pictures here are taken in the dry season, but having just come out of the floods, where there was a little bit of flood damage that I could see, from the riverside of things. We actually managed to get stuck in some mud at one stage as well. But really, what was amazing was how good their road network is. They made a conscious decision not to drive during the rains, and change their safari activities completely for the guests that were in camp. And as a result, now that it's dried out and the environment is back to operating normally, they've got good roads. They're not rutted, they're not destroyed by mud, they're not destroyed by Land Rovers getting stuck in them. So the commercial viability and how they manage their natural environment is critically important, not just to their operating success, but to the guest experience as well. And they truly honor the environment in which they are operating. Especially at the moment, the line dynamics are fantastically interesting. There's a pride of a few new young males that have moved into the area, and there's quite a lot of disruption that is taking place, which I presume will last for the next part of the season as well. But from a big cat sightings, the Timbavati right now is absolutely phenomenal. And I know most of you must have seen on social media, and I didn't get to see it, I have to admit, is the little baby white lion as well that has come out. But that is around, and of course, a hot item to be seen, but not always to be found. I mentioned it to you earlier, but the essence and ethos of the people at Tanda Tula is what makes the experience so special. The guides are phenomenal. The guys behind the bar are phenomenal. I don't get to go to Tanda Tula nearly as much as I would love to. I go up a few times in a year. But what I love about it is when I do walk in is that everybody knows you by name, and they treat you as though you're a long lost friend. And they do exactly the same with guests, even if the guest hasn't been there before. That sense of warm welcoming into a homely environment is what really changes us. There's no commercial edge to Tanda Tula at all. And that sense of intimacy and connection really carries through. We've got seven safari suites over here and two family suites. The children are 6 years and older, and the rate is coming in at the current exchange rate at just under $2,000 per person. And I think at that rate, for what you're getting in terms of a safari camp and destination, it is absolutely superb. This is the main lounge area with the central bar, been beautifully done. Nina did a lot of the interiors herself, so it's got that sense of personalization. It's not 50 shades of beige and every decorated like every other safari camp around you. It's got lots of intimate and more sort of individualistic styles to it. I love the lounge corner. They've used the sort of the purple pod cluster leaf, which has got those beautiful, and now when we was there last week, those beautiful, beautiful dark purple pods and these green, green, green leaves. Right now, the color of the bush is exactly the interior style of Tanda Tula. It's these deep purples and greens and yellows of the trees. It really is beautiful. That's the main pool area, which is beautiful. And then the individual suites are absolutely stunning. So this is completely different to what we were getting at a Beagle. And actually, I think that Tanda Tula and Beagle can combine brilliantly together. You're going from this one experience of a little bit more luxury and style to it, and the other one that is a bit more raw and disconnected. But both of them really reconnect and immerse people into the environment in which they are. Again, it brings out that purple style of the purple cluster leaf and all of that. What I love about the rooms, guys, and you can see it here briefly, is that this is you can open the doors, which I like. I'm an anti-aircon person, but you can open these doors at any stage. They slide open really easily. And during the day, if you want to, this is an electronic blind that comes down. So this is a gauze blind, as you can see over here. The whole thing comes down in front of you, and you can create sort of an open canvas style room at all times as well. It's just the most amazing way to have an afternoon rest. And then these rooms on the side door over here, you can either close it off completely with a canvas panel, or you can open it up and it's got a gauze that allows natural fresh air in at all times. When I was there a few weeks last week, it was hot, absolutely, but I don't like aircon. So I just slept with the side panels open, had a lovely breeze coming through at all times, and it's the most amazing, comfortable room. The pools are fantastic, and you've got the sunken lounge in the front as well. But really, what sets Tanda Tula apart is the quality of the guiding. The game viewing in the area obviously is fantastic, but other people have access to that as well. But Tanda Tula has the most sensitive way in which they approach their natural environment and the most fantastic guides as well. We've also got Chad, who's like a celebrity guide on this side. That's Chad over there, who's our photographer as well. But wonderful day and night drives. Guided walking, extremely good walking guys here as well. I would happily go walking with these guys at any time, feeling completely safe with them. And then one of the other signature experiences are the bush breakfasts, which are still continuing on and looking absolutely fantastic. They've done a bit of a changeover around the main bush breakfast site, but it's looking beautiful. Chef Ryan is a legend in his own making and the most amazing guy in the kitchen side of things. The food experiences are phenomenal. I think the lunches at Tanda Tula must rate as one of the best lunches at any safari camp. And they are designed either to be done as a shared table around the main dining room area or for that sense of reconnection and just being on yourself by yourself in your own space in your beautiful room. They are designed so that you can have them in your room as well. And then for health and well-being, I think that whole thing about intimacy and connection and, really sort of immersing yourself into your environment, one of the best ways to do this is to have one of these truly healing massages that they do, what the team do at Tanda Tula. And they've got a beautiful spa and gym area. What I also really appreciate about them is that we do this conservation patrol flight that can be done in the afternoon. It's usually done around tea time in the afternoon. The helicopter comes to Tanda Tula. It is the Timbavati Conservation Helicopter that flies in to do an afternoon patrol, but they pick guests up and you can participate in this. You get picked up from Tanda Tula and it's about a 45-minute flight, low flying, checking our conservation requirements and needs within the Timbavati. And then you'll land somewhere in the middle of the Timbavati, and the guide and the vehicle will pick you up and you'll continue on your afternoon game drive. So it's the first 45 minutes. You'll leave just before sort of tea time or around tea time, and you do 45 minutes of flying and understanding the area. You're going with a conservation pilot as well as with one of the wardens from the Timbavati. Please, this year, a new offer that we have is that if you're staying 3 nights or more, the conservation patrol flight is included for all guests staying between May and June. But please, those are new bookings, so do make that booking between May and June, and you'll get the conservation patrol flight included. And I highly recommend that you look at doing that. That kind of brings us to the end of things. So, as I'm talking about things, I think, Tanda Tula is very much about close proximity to wildlife, the privileged access of being in the Timbavati, guides that elevate their sightings into amazing stories, and moments that give guests absolute goosebumps and reconnect them to their wild spaces, and the luxury and the care and the attention of the team that you have all around you. And your job over here, and you spoke about your own personal conviction and how you sell something, but it really is not just to, not just to match clients with camps and that sort of thing, but it's to truly understand what they feel and what they need, and to send them somewhere that truly delivers that. I think if you can have clients that come home with beautiful photos, you've done your job well. But when you have a client who comes home totally changed, you've done your job brilliantly. So I hope that all of you do have more and more clients out there that come back from safari and are completely converted onto the African landscape. And if that person becomes a repeat client, they definitely are one of those. And that's why we have such a high number of repeats. So finally, what I'd love to understand from you now is just which of the experiences would stretch your clients the most? Walking safari with no Wi-Fi, a vast desert solitude, being up close with big five encounters, or some of you might be completely stressed out by some ultra luxury, fully serviced lodge with interiors and design. So which would stretch your clients the most? And And I think in that, I'm also asking you, so what makes the most impact for somebody? What is something that you think would make truly transform somebody to do something totally different and feel something completely different as well? And to get that feeling of when you come back from a safari to be altered in you. And I think, so many times we look at people that have not had access to many wild spaces, and there's a fear of the unknown. But in actual fact, if you get through that fear, you have this most extraordinary experience. Okay, we've got a good number. This is a very nice poll coming in over here. Well done, guys. And I'm going to give it no more time. Ending the poll now. So we've had most of you have said, oh, failed to share. Oops. Oh, it is sharing. Okay, sorry. 51% of you said that the walking safari with no Wi-Fi would stretch your clients the most. 32 is a half and half between the vast desert solitudes and up close big five encounters. And most of your clients would not be stretched by ultra luxury lodges and focus on the interiors and design. So I think in summary, if we look at what we've spoken about today and the different things that we've encountered and gone through, we really understand that growth really happens inside comfort zones. It's not that it doesn't happen for your guests and it doesn't happen for us like that. The most compelling things that we can do is to sell with conviction and to push people slightly out of their comfort zone into a place that they are totally at ease and totally safe, but feeling something completely different inside. And those are the experiences that I feel Beagle, Wolwedans, and Tanda Tula deliver in bucket loads. They can be combined into one experience or they can be used with anything else in between. But you can sell all three of these destinations with complete and utter trust and faith that you will know that your clients will be extremely well looked after and they'll all be fundamentally transformed in the way that they come back to Africa going forward. I want to thank you all for your ongoing support, for your care and attention and devotion that you have towards our portfolio. We actually had an amazing team meeting this morning with a few of our members, and the resounding thing was they said we just feel that our portfolio is so well loved by people who understand Africa. And from our perspective, and this is from all the Classic Portfolio members and from the Classic Portfolio team, we truly value you as our trade partners. And this year, from our side, is all about building better relationships, nurturing our partnerships. And from our side, we're investing quite substantially in new platforms, fantastic events that all bring us closer together. Because within this jungled up world of AI and complexity and Trump and Putin and all the nonsense that is beyond our control, what you can do is go to someplace extraordinary in Africa and forget about it all for a moment and absolutely feel that the world is in a good place. Just for a small moment, you can do that. So I encourage all of you to sell more in our direction. And I want to thank you again for joining us today. Goodbye.